Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. We are talking about Good Omens 1 and 2, and I love these one more than two, but we'll get to that. We'll get to it. I'm Dub. I'm here with Satomi. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really great. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys. And we're talking about one of my favorite series of all time. So I'm trying not to make puddles.
So I have to ask this question. Did you read the books first, or are you straight in the
Straight into the series. I've actually never read the books. They're on my list, but I'm
should.
so okay. Because I've been asking people, I have such a place in my heart for both of these series that will it ruin the series for me?
No.
Okay.
I feel like the second one is a lot farther off the book.
Okay.
Probably why I enjoyed the first one, because the first one is the book.
See, and I loved the second one, and I know that in interviews, David and Michael look at me like they're my friends.
Like your first name basis is
Yes.
yes, rock star.
We should just call them Aziraphale and Crowley. That they've talked about how much Neil Gaiman gave them a lot of freedom, like a lot of license, and also like would talk to them about it because they had brought so much of themselves and their own relationship to these roles that it sort of created. I mean, it just shaped that arc between Aziraphale and Crowley in such a way that it just kind of made room for it. So,
well, something I noticed with Gaiman is he knows how to trust the right people.
Oh yeah.
There's those I know that he doesn't trust, and he might feel like he micromanages, and there's those he doesn't. David Tennant, you don't need to micromanage anything because he's brilliant and he's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, both of them. All you really have to do is just say, "Go play."
Yeah,
go play. I mean, Michael Sheen is just they're just so they're both so perfect for the roles, and just embody the roles so beautifully. There's a really neat, what was actually kind of fun, because both of them are also actors who are so versatile.
Yeah.
That in another world, you could actually see them switching roles, and it would be so fun.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, wow. I'm mad at you because now that's all I can think about.
Well, there's a wonderful video out there of David Tennant reading a chapter from the book, where it's the I think is it the Ducks Have Ears sequel? I can't remember what scene it was, but and he's doing both voices. And you're listening to his Aziraphale. Now, granted, his Aziraphale is going to be an impersonation of Michael Sheen's Aziraphale, because Michael Sheen's Aziraphale is perfection.
He nailed it.
Yeah. You don't put lipstick on a pig. You just got to be like, this is the way it should be. We're going to leave it that way and love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's kind of split these into two. Let's talk the first series first, and then we'll go into the second, because there's some things that I would like to do different on the second. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but there's things that, we'll get to that. But
I will be so curious because I haven't read the books, so I don't know if those things would be different.
Well, no, I would go in an entirely different direction on something, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to okay. So the first one, that is very, very close to the book. I loved. There's something, the coloration of this, like the kind of 50s vibe, is just so. That's what draws you in more than anything else. I mean, yes, the acting is fantastic, all that, but there's something about the way it's colored that is just beautiful. It's that.
Are you talking about throughout, including the flashbacks and current time period?
More so in the current
animation.
More so in the current.
So there's a lot of kind of blues. There's a lot of There's almost
Leave It to Beaver colorized.
Yeah, there's almost like even though it's not sepia tone, it's that sort of muted.
Yeah.
There's muted costume colors. There's everything is very muted.
Yeah.
In the first series. Okay. All right,
So
cool.
yeah, that's something I absolutely loved about this. I
Mhm.
love the direct storyline straight through because I was reading the book.
Okay.
Made me happy. Yeah, and honestly, my first episode, I was like, I didn't like Aziraphale. I was like, okay, because I in my mind he was more Simon Pegg
Oh,
than Michael
okay.
Sheen.
Okay.
So it took me a minute, and then I'm like, okay, he nailed it. But that's really my only complaint from the first one. I don't think it's too confusing. I don't think it's too. Yes, I mean, there's the religious base that some will get mad at, and it's a movie. Relax. It's Neil
It's a
Gaiman. If you
movie,
like Neil Gaiman,
it's a
yeah,
fantasy. It's a
it's
fantasy
a
based in a
fantasy.
world that's already established.
Yeah,
So, it's like setting a fantasy, fantasy novel where
yeah,
there are dragons and unicorns. It's like,
yeah,
okay, so what else? What else?
yeah. No, I
Um
had no issue with all. But yeah, anyway, I know that's all. I know some people can have a complaint with that, but if that's not your
so
thing,
do you
relax.
think that the color scheme kind of lent a dreamlike
Yes,
uh feel to it? Okay.
that is when I dream. That is where I am. That's the
Okay.
colors.
Yeah.
That's the color palette. That is the that 50s bright lipstick and just that. I don't want to say rockabilly, but you understand that. But
Yeah.
that's what made it so perfect because that is my dreams.
It has almost like a Pleasantville feel
Yeah,
about it
that's a good way. That's
to
a
a
good way of saying
certain
it.
way. Yeah, yeah. And so you were talking about the storyline being linear, which I mean it so much of it was told in flashback throughout.
Yeah.
So so maybe tell me a little bit more about what you mean there.
Well, the first one just felt a lot more linear. I know that it is flashback. Anything you
Mhm.
get with Pritchard is going to be flashbacks. He lives in that world.
Mhm.
Um, I felt like it was easier to follow in this. That it was definite. Okay, we're popping back. Okay, now we're popping back because you always knew where that front line was,
Mhm.
if that
Mhm.
makes sense. And I think that's kind of the linear I'm talking about. You
Well,
always
actually,
know where it is.
yeah. Yeah.
Oppenheimer's kind of similar. You know where the line is,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
you can feel the flashbacks, but they feel like a flashback instead of is this part of what's going on right
Is this
now?
now or is this
Yeah.
then? Yeah. Yeah, even the stuff with Anathema and her mom definitely was very established, but
Yeah.
now for me, not having read the books coming into series 1, now one of the things that I love about, British television, and it's one of the reasons that I'm
Hmm.
a massive Doctor Who fan, um, is that and PS, the amount yay! Mad Men with a Box. Um, PS, of course, we have a ton of cameos from and main
Everybody.
characters
Yeah.
from the Whoverse, but there is a delicious cheesiness
Yes.
to they're not afraid of the cheese.
It never takes itself too seriously.
Never takes itself too seriously. And I will say actually, series 1, so if we wanna get into the weeds a little bit, I even though I think she's one of the finest actors of our time, I don't love Frances McDormand as the voice of God.
Yeah. I get that.
Maybe unpopular, I
I
don't
wouldn't fight you about it.
okay. I mean, I would have loved, like, I just saw Barbie, and so I would have loved, like, Helen Mirren, being the voice of
That'd be
God,
interesting.
or, maybe they wanted to get away from the British,
Yeah.
the stereotypical British actor.
There was one perfect Metatron ever, but he can't do it anymore. That's Alan.
Alan Rickman?
Yes,
Yeah.
he from Dogma, the perfect voice of God, and it's
Yeah.
hard to ever anything else is just an imitation.
Well, the Metatron was, in this one was and I'm blanking on his name,
He
and
was in
I can
Doctor
see
Who.
him in
He was the
his face. Yep.
original. He was
Matt wasn't he the Master?
the master
Yep.
before he became
And then
all done.
he also came and did a cameo later, not a cameo, he was in in a, 'kay, I'm gonna check myself. I'm gonna
Okay,
double check
before you wreck
myself.
yourself.
Before I wreck myself, Derek Jacobi, who
Okay,
was, who was
it's
the
like
master,
a
who was
Jacobite. I'm sorry.
oh, ba-dum-bum.
Sorry,
We need sound effects. We need sound effects.
I'll put him in
Um,
later.
okay. I'll trust you on that. Or actually don't. Stay away from the sound effect machine, Deb. Whatever
Me?
you do,
Me?
don't touch it.
Oh,
Don't. Don't judge
Hurts
it.
my feelings.
But yeah, so Derek Jacobi is fantastic as the Metatron, and again for Whovians, he was the master. End of the World. Coming into End of the World Part 1 and 2. And he is delightful, and Dune, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and I didn't look it up, so I don't want to mess it up out of respect for her. But Archangel Michael, of course. And you see Gloria Obiano coming back also, and of course we have our new Archangel Seraquel, who was, I believe, was Liz Carr. Seraquiel.
She's
Sorry,
very hard to look at. And I know that I don't mean to say that meanly, but it's like, okay.
Well, she has an interesting face.
She has a very interesting face.
And I think that was very
on purpose.
Purposeful. That was very purposeful, because we do talk about, I was thinking about that actually today. How if you look at the Bible, God made man in his own image, their own image. And so if that's the case, that means that God and the angels should be able to look like anyone.
That's fair.
Absolutely anyone.
It was an interesting choice, and I'm not mad at it. It just, she just has a very unusual face. I'm not making fun.
She's got a ton of power, and she can make you feel very uncomfortable very quickly. Like I would not like to be in her crosshairs. I would not want her mad at me. But we're getting off track. So back to series 1. I think what made me fall in love with it is, I always love characters that are about the shades of gray. And really overarching this entire series is about
shades of gray. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, we like, as human beings, this is just the way we are. We like to see things in black and white. We like to see things, one or the other, because it makes it easier for our brains to process. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And so, Crowley and Aziraphale really embody the yin yang of what it is to be human. I mean, together they are human.
The perfect person. Yeah.
They are the perfect person. So, and of course, storyline, so flippin' fun.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And of course, as we go into Good Omens 1, we meet the satanic nuns.
Oh, they're creepy.
who then play Nina and Maggie, who the actresses are Nina and Maggie as well.
Yeah.
In Good Omens 2. And that's a callback to that. And they are both polar opposites, character-wise.
Yeah, it's so nice how they did that.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's also, we get to see the range of these actors, and how fantastic. I mean, Nina Sosanya in particular, who plays Nina.
Or...
No, she plays Nina. She
okay.
plays the Give Me a Coffee or Give Me Death.
Gotcha.
P.S. Let's put around how both series are chock full of Easter eggs.
Oh my gosh.
Just massive Easter egg hunts. Like too many to talk about here, and many, many more that I haven't seen, that I haven't even spotted.
No, this is one of those shows you need to watch more than once. You need to watch probably more than twice, because there's a lot to it. And the first time you're just trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Well, you're just following the story.
Yeah.
I mean, truth be told, I've watched both of them many times already. And then I'm one of those ones that then goes back to series 1 and watches it from series 1.
I got
going
3 times on the first
2.
one. I've only done it once on the second.
I've done it more.
That doesn't surprise me. Now, let's talk about a character that I was not fond of the first series, but the second series I fell in love with was the John Hamm character, Gabriel.
Right.
And
right.
I didn't like the way he played Gabriel. I thought he was just a buffoon, but he was in the second one too, but he played it better, if that makes sense.
Well,
And I know it's different characters-ish.
Yeah, well, you had in the first one, what was working against him is you had to not like him. And it is always hard, I think, interestingly enough, I think more as Americans, I think it is hard for us to hear an American in a British show
Yeah.
and accept them as being part of that world, because we are so like we tend to, you know, think of British television and British stories as elevated in some way, because as soon as we hear that
Kinda, yeah.
wonderful lilting accent, it's like it takes us to Magic Land, because
Well, yeah,
that
because they
is
say
what the
2
other
plus
is.
2 equals 5, and you're going to believe them.
Yeah. Yes.
And then
Yes,
you
of
put somebody
course,
with West
darling.
Virginia accent, 2 plus 2 equals 5, you're like, "Okay, you're an idiot."
Yeah.
No,
Well,
that is right.
yeah.
It's there's 'cause
Yeah.
it's because we grew up Shakespeare is the highest form of literature, so therefore anything that's in that, which is the British accent, we automatically think, "Okay, they're more smart,
Well, even look
more
at our
smarter. They're
fantasy.
more smarter."
Even our fantasy films we didn't really start embracing the American accent until Star Wars. And even then, who is the smartest guy in the first Star Wars?
Obi.
It's Obi.
Yep.
It's
Well,
Obi.
and then you have, Leia, who had half of her
Well,
lines were
yeah.
British.
Yes.
"You foul stench." Like,
Yes.
"Stop it."
Yes. Well, and she had that sort of weird mid-Atlantic accent. And
Yeah.
again, it was because we equate royalty,
Yeah.
we equate knowledge, we even equate villainy, but anything that's elevated, we equate with a British accent. So you put John Hamm in there, and I agree. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But I think there was a line that won me over in the first one that I was like, okay, okay, he's funny. And of course, then when we come into season 2, we have the joy of seeing him just discovering who
Yeah.
he is. And I mean,
Even though
PS,
he really doesn't till the end.
no, no, but you watch him like the first time he has hot chocolate,
Yeah, discovering humanity.
discovering humanity, discovering what it is to be in
It's
these bodies and on this
it's
planet.
what a baby
And
would be like if they could talk.
yeah. Yes. Or my friend Jeremy Stoll, who was on the show before, he's literally
Yeah.
he was like the whole time I was watching, I was like, he's channeling Jeremy Stoll right now. This is unbelievable. So yeah, to watch to those journeys, it was fantastic. I mean, even the actors who got to come back. I mean, when you think about it, because Miranda Richardson got to come back as a completely different character. We had Beelzebub played by an entirely different
Yeah,
actor.
which was a good choice, by the way.
Okay, so at the beginning, let's stop trying to be linear, because clearly that's not the way that
Okay,
this is
yeah,
going to happen.
I can see that.
I'm going to think about this as like we're talking about it as a full film.
Yeah.
Um, I was not in love with her when she started. I was not in love
Really?
with her when she started. Yeah.
The Flies too much?
No, not at all. I like the flies. It was her pace, and having watched it and knowing what the stakes are,
Yeah.
I understand it now, and I love her, and it was very right.
I think the makeup was a little too on par for, Pirates of the Caribbean, Calliope. I
Oh, did
thought
it
it was a little too much of that, but
Uh-huh.
it doesn't bother me, but
Mhm.
I can see that's, like, the inspiration. I'm kinda like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
not
there's
mad at it,
yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah.
that was too close, if that
Oh,
makes
okay.
sense.
I didn't even think about it, but yeah.
Now you can
Yeah,
see
that
it,
made that
can't you?
yeah, now I can now
The
I can't
teeth
unsee
and
it.
all
Thanks,
that.
Deb.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
I'll
you.
ruin
Yeah.
anything for you. That's what I do. Okay, so since we're throwing the linear out of the closet, we're talking 1 and 2. Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta
It's
just jam
too
it in there.
hard. It's
It's too
too hard. It's
much.
one story.
So
It's
let
one story, really.
so let's talk about this first. The animation on the
Oh,
intro, it's like
oh
those
my
gin
gosh.
commercials. I know it's a style of art. I don't know what it's called, but I love that style of art. It's like steampunk esque. And I know
Peter Anderson's studio nailed it.
So cool.
It is so cool. And I love that throughout the first one, they did have little bits, but they really upped it in series 2. And at least the quality, of course, as the episodes go on, there just wasn't as much room for it because the story became so dense. But one of the most fun things is watching now. It is one of the few shows that after I've seen an episode or 2 that I don't skip the intro.
Yes. I do that with Doctor Who. I do that with this.
Because that's it. So much to see. So let's talk about the fact that by the time you finish the series, you will be able to you'll be able to see all
the characters,
everything, and everything that's happened. The whole story.
And you don't know, and it gives every spoiler away to it.
But yes, exactly. It's like the whole thing is a freaking spoiler. But since you don't know what's going on or how it's so brilliantly put together.
Yeah.
What is it that could you imagine being in the creative room for that? Trying to figure out what would go into that in animation without tipping your hand.
I feel like the only way they did that is it wasn't a committee. I think it was one person said, this is the vision and this is what I'm doing. Otherwise, I don't think it would have worked. I think it's somebody that watched the series and said, okay, this is my vision. And I think if it went by committee, they would have taken out half of it. No, that'll give too much away. No, it didn't. Nothing was given away. Except everything. Which is okay.
It's sort of, you know what it feels like? It feels like one of those things with all of the drawings that you have to go find the little
Waldo.
The one. It's not like a Waldo. It's like Hidden Folks. I don't want to be like doing an advertisement, but where there's so much going on.
Yeah.
In the picture, and you have to just zoom in so hard to be able to pick out each little thing, and it's all of it is there. It's all there.
Oh, what I would love to see somebody do, somebody's got the time, go through the intro on it and just zoom in piece at a time and explain exactly what's going on everywhere. That I would sit and watch that for a day.
How do we know it hasn't already happened?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I
actually haven't seen it either. And honestly, as a Good Omens,
if somebody wants to do that, you'll be, we got a voiceover artist that would love to probably volunteer to do it.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
There's a YouTube channel just begging for dissecting the Good Omens credits. Now, the other thing about the Good Omens credits is the incredible title song by David Arnold.
It's beautiful.
It's glorious.
It's so good.
It is musically so sound. Even like the triads that he uses for what's underneath, they are not
normal,
conventionally structured. I'm to resist. I'm being so good, Deb. You should be so proud of me that impressed. I don't want to get into copyright. I've got it playing in my head and I want to sing it so bad. But if you listen to it, it's not the most instinctual thing to hum right back to somebody.
Yeah.
Because they're not traditionally structured. And I think there's very much a reason for that. Because it is the unsettling underneath what
the minor key underneath.
Yeah, it's not just the minor though, because even within the minor, things are a little effed up.
It's a little off.
It's a little off.
And I tell you where I think they got the inspiration was from the Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. It's got
feel.
That similar feel. And this is
I
more complex,
I don't think they were inspired specifically by it, but that style of
Yeah,
music, yes, definitely.
as a musician, I really
Mhm.
appreciate things that are deceptively complex, but they sound simple. This sounds,
Mhm.
on first glance, like, oh, that's nice, simple. Uh, but then when you listen to it, it's not. And it's like, wow, there's some heavyweights writing and playing this.
Especially because it's something that is, you're talking about a score that is repetitive, but it very much like the
Variations.
animation,
Yeah.
it's it's building and building and its own little bolero, its own little Ravel bolero where it's just building on this theme. And of course, they really, really take it to the nth degree in season 2. Um, where now at the end of at the end of each season, I mean, excuse me, each episode, um, the theme song is played in the style of whatever world they were most in that episode.
Actually, I forgot about that, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
it's very cool. So it's definitely worth listening to the credits,
Yeah.
because of that. Can we
Yeah.
go I'm nerding out hard, so I've
No,
I've
it's
got more
okay.
to say
Uh,
about the music, so you should talk.
let's move on from music for a minute.
Okay, we have to come you have to promise we're gonna come back, though.
Okay, well, we'll hit it. We'll
Okay,
hit it at
okay,
the end at the end will be for the hyper
okay,
nerd music side. Okay,
okay,
because
yes.
I don't want to lose people on that.
Well,
Not
no,
to,
it's actually not about the specific score, but go ahead, go.
okay, well, actually, I want to hit on the my complaint on the second one.
Oh, yes, talk to me. What
Okay,
didn't
so
you like?
I'm not complaining. Mm, it's very different from the book. Because yeah, it's the first book, and then it's um Neil Gaiman saying, "Okay, go with it." I mean, that's kind of the difference. What I would have liked to see, and there, I felt like there was a touch of it. I want to see, I want to see a full season of Crowley and Aziraphale going on these adventures. And we saw a little bit of that without the overarching, not the bad wolf story on top. I know I'm talking Doctor Who here, but I
Yep.
felt very Doctor Who heavy on this. Not a bad thing, but with it gave us the overarching story. But I want to have like just a different chapter every week of them going on a different adventure just throughout time. I think you could add 3 seasons to this by just doing that. I would love that because that's what I kind of felt like they were doing a little bit, like the Job thing and the zombies and all that. I'm like, oh, this is these all, and you disagreed with me, and I want to catch why. I said this kind of feels like Doctor Who because it's two of the main characters going on a different adventure in a different setting in a different world, and I loved it. So I wanted to hear why you disagreed with it. Is the my Doctor Who analogy?
Um, I disagree because it's just a form of storytelling. We're missing it's not one doctor and his companion/companions.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the relationship between 2 people. Um, their their central, conundrum, their central conflict is
Yeah.
always the same.
Mm-hmm.
That does not change. We're not learning a different lesson from flashback to flashback. It's always focused around what does it mean to be good?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to be evil? What does it mean to have choices and to make choices? Um, and everything that's around there is is sort of in that orbit, which is why to me it makes sense that to still have this overarching story because that's asking it on a larger scale, whereas Aziraphale and Crowley are the microcosm of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just some would argue it feels Doctor Who-ish because it's David Tennant being David Tennant. But I mean, David Tennant is an actor who and this is not a bad thing. This is a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful thing. His he is less of a transformational actor and more of a I'm going to bring who I am to the character and filter myself through this character, which is why you see him do things that are very Doctor. And not only that, but he's got directors who, literally in season 1 when the Bentley went up, the director went to him and he wanted something specific for the shot, and he went up to him. He wasn't getting it, and finally he said, "You just watch the TARDIS blow up." And then he got the take that he wanted. So, I mean, they're actually looking for that from him. Like if, if the Doctor were a, rock star.
Let me go back on this just a second because I think you misunderstood what I was talking about.
Okay,
it's not so much that it's Doctor Who, that there's a TARDIS, that they're going through time and all that. It's even Quantum Leap or something. You have the character, then and love these characters, and they're moving about in different scenarios in different times, but everything else changes except for those characters.
Oh, I can see that.
That's more what I was talking about.
I can see that.
That's more what I was talking about.
Okay.
I'm not saying, no, this is a direct ripoff of Doctor Who, because it wasn't. This is
I
actually
don't-
becoming in vogue right now.
What's funny is I don't know if I could watch an entire series of Aziraphale and Crowley. I mean, I adore them so much. Well, I adore them so much, but how they, to me, what is part of the mastery of these series is how they relate to what their conundrums are in present day. So watching how those experiences are influencing what is happening today is part of the magic for me. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that
you disagree. It's cool.
For me, in my opinion, I think they have a very symbiotic relationship, and I would worry. I mean, I could see them doing a series. I would just worry that it would go, like how some, not all, but how some of the Star Wars spinoffs lost their way.
Yeah, don't get me on that one.
Okay, but I mean, you see where I'm going with this. It's like it's tough. It's a tough path to tread.
I'm okay with it, assuming that Gaiman's on board.
Right.
If Gaiman's not on board, I'm not on board. I'm done with it. Yeah. If Gaiman says I'm done, you guys just take it. I will not watch a third season.
No. Oh,
that's who I trust.
Yeah. Is there any talk about him not being involved?
I don't even know if there's a third. If there's talk on the third one, to be honest.
Oh no, honestly, it can't not happen. They left us with a freaking cliffhanger. Okay,
if they would have done what I just talked about on this whole season, make them those stories, and then do the third season telling this story that they told on this, then I would be okay with that as a very morose ending. But I would be very, actually, I would have been happy with it, because I feel like they would have. But with how it is now, it's very Empire.
Well, they have to be, because let's face it, it's a business.
Yeah.
You need people to want season 3. And for a series to go past, to get renewed over and over again, I don't know what their contract situation is, but it's real risky to it's like, and then you've also got to think about the actors are getting older, because let's face it, you can see Tennant and Sheen getting older.
Yes.
You can see Dune getting older. And how much longer are they going to want to play this reindeer game unless they decide to come back as humans? And then how is that fun?
No.
Yeah. So
well, I thought that's how they were going to end this, to be honest. I thought, okay, well, they're going to say no to heaven, no to hell, and they're just going to live in the bookshop forever. Okay. And I don't know if that'd be satisfying.
No. Should we talk about the ending?
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are in this by now, I mean, come on.
You've watched it.
You've watched it, because there's no way.
You've watched it. Yeah.
So, okay. I actually had... I liked the ending. I liked the split screen. I liked how you could see the whole range of emotion in Aziraphale. Crowley, you only saw one emotion. I didn't like that, because he was just angry. But you saw Aziraphale, first he was sad, and then you saw acceptance, and then you saw him looking at his future, and you saw him getting more and more happy.
I
Crowley was just
don't agree.
angry. Oh, I think so. I thought
I don't agree.
I thought it was so well played on that. That's my own opinion.
I mean, for me, for my well, first of all, Crowley has sunglasses on,
Mhm.
and the eyes are the window to the soul. And when you are doing camera work, one of the most important things is to keep your eyes in the camera, however you can, that the camera can catch your eyes, because that's where the
Yeah.
emotion is happening. And so he was robbed of that. So for Crowley, I mean, for me, I just felt it was almost like that scene with the smoke just coming off of him. It just felt like the emotion was just coming off him in waves, which I thought was so beautiful. Like, I had to go back and watch
Yeah.
credits a couple of times, and the fact that they chose to keep that camera on them, I mean,
That was brilliant.
genius, because you've got 2 incredible actors and you're just letting them be in that moment. So, um, especially on rewatch, Crowley and Aziraphale have the argument, the kiss, which is just excruciatingly beautiful moment. And when, Crowley essentially says, "You're an idiot. This is you. We both know what the game is." And Aziraphale is still at the ever hopeful.
Mhm.
As soon as the Metatron says the second coming, you see Aziraphale look back at Crowley, and for my part, I think he looks back and is like, "Oh crap, you're right."
And I agree. That's what you
Yeah.
saw at the beginning.
And then he turns and he makes the decision that he's going to change heaven from the inside.
Mhm.
And now he understands that he is going into the serpent's nest. And so when he gets into that elevator, he's dealing with all of those emotions. He's just lost the love of his life. He's the one who's responsible. He's made a terrible mistake. He is now standing next to a dangerous person. And then when he shifts, if his eyes are still just a well of despair, and he puts on this, to me, he's putting on the mask to go in and now try to prevent the second coming,
See,
in
that's
my
not how I
opinion.
saw it though. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with the emotional spectrum we're talking about, but
Mhm.
I think that there was a point that it goes from despair to excitement. I'm much looking forward to watching this again, because I mean, I could really see in his eyes is like, this is everything I've ever wanted on top of it, you know?
And
And
that's to me, and
this
that's what makes it even more painful, because he's like, "This is what everything I've ever wanted," and it turns
and I
out it's not what I wanted.
and that's right when he started, but I think there was just some change. I don't know what floor we're on, floor 50, I'll say. Uh, and then I saw that, and I'm going to watch it again to see if I'm seeing it right. But you just saw this change. It's like, okay, I've accepted that I've
Watch
made
it
my
on a big screen.
decisions. Huh?
Watch it on a big screen.
Oh, I do.
Watch
I
it
do.
on a big
I
screen.
do. I
I
do.
mean, listen, I I'm not gonna say that you're wrong, but I'm gonna say that you're
Oh,
wrong.
I
No, I'm
will.
kidding.
No, I'm just
I'm
kidding.
not.
You totally should. That's the point of the show. Everybody tells Dubby he's wrong.
No, 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 no. It's all about what you get from it. So
Yeah.
if that's what you see, I think it will be a really interesting ride, how that will affect how both of us watch series 3 that we now have to wait for, God
What
knows how.
happens? Okay, are you okay if it doesn't happen?
No.
Okay,
I am it's a moral imperative that
but
they
let
shoot
let
series 3.
I mean, this is the reality right now. Gaiman's shooting Sandman, who he's been getting paid a lot more money than Good Omens. And I think they're going to want to do at least 2 series of that. I don't know if they're going to get to it or not.
He found time to do series 2 in between, and it's not like,
I'm
when
just trying
things
to.
shoot, they've got a schedule,
I'm
they
being
fit
Crowley right
it
now, okay? And
in.
you are so being
Yes, and
Aziraphale. There you
I
go.
am being Aziraphale. I mean, I'm definitely Crowley and, Aziraphale's baby. Um I mean, there's so many great moments where, Crowley talks about, uh, not being on anyone's side. He's just doing everything until he can't. She's trying to do everything he's supposed to do until he can't. And
And there's something I love about that. I mean, I know
yeah,
you're not supposed to love it, but I do. There's something about the human nature that says, angelic nature or whatever, that says you do need to do your best, even everything else is going to crap, but you know that you can still make a change. You've got to do what you can do. And I think that's the message we should be taking. A lot of people aren't taking that, and that's okay. But that's, yeah,
well, I
I
mean,
love ambiguity and
oh, it's just it's exquisite, and it's the I do find it interesting that, that this is coming out now, and we won't get too deep into it, but it's just that beautiful reminder, human beings are not binary creatures. We're not. We're shades of gray. It's not black and white. There's all the in-betweens, and it's complicated. Like, okay, let's talk about Maggie and Nina, and
Mhm.
the fact that you're expecting this glorious love story, and how much did I love that Nina was like, "I am a mess. I am not ready."
I'm glad they did that because I'm so
Dude,
sick of your typical love story.
oh my
Like,
gosh.
okay, you're expecting the whole time, and then they didn't give it to you, and I'm like, I'm so glad they didn't give that because I don't want it. I mean, because
Dude,
you didn't need it.
you did not need it, and it's not there's nothing real about it.
And honestly, and if they would have, she's a bad person because I mean, she's just cheating on her partner.
Well, she no, I mean,
She
if she would
didn't,
be. She
but
did
she would
not
have
cheat on
been.
her
But
partner.
it was. I'm like, no, I don't.
No.
No, that's
But she,
yeah.
she's like, "I'm human. I need time to heal. I don't need her to be a rebound." And bless Maggie's heart, she's like, "I'll be there." And of course, I think there's a little bit of foreshadowing here for Aziraphale and Crowley that it's like, you know, I
I don't want to see them together at the end. I want to see something
oh, I
happen. I
do. I
want there
wanna
to
see
be.
them
I want it.
together.
I want this third season, if we get it, to be painful at the end. I do. I want to cry at the end. I
Oh.
don't want it. I don't want a happy ending. I feel like this shouldn't give us a happy ending.
Well, it doesn't you know what? I don't necessarily need them to be a couple at the end, but I want there to be peace between them.
I think there should be peace, but I think they have to separate and never see each other for some reason.
Oh, see, and I was sort of
That's how I
picturing
want
them
them
as
to end.
being, agreeing to be friends for eternity
Well, you can
because
be
they
friends
shared
with that.
something.
You can still be
Yeah.
friends without, having that
Seeing each other all
contact.
yeah. Well, yes, but I think they should because especially since we're talking about a world, where so much of the lesson of this entire series is that we're not talking black and white, that we're talking shades of gray,
Yeah.
and that things are complicated. I think it actually would be much more interesting if everything is left very open-ended.
Which is why I would be okay with this ending here.
I still
And
the
I
no,
know you
this
want it, and I do too,
mhm.
but I would be okay with this as an ending. I really would.
Bless your
You are
heart.
so mad at me right now.
I'm not, I'm not, I'm not.
No,
I'm just not
and say
okay with it.
and that's not a negative on anything I saw on the show. I enjoy the show. I
Mhm,
am okay with it ending here. I'm
mhm,
okay with they've made their choices. Now they
mhm.
and I know this curse my geek heart. I like open-ended. I don't need the answers to everything.
Oh, no, me too, me
And
too.
a
It's
lot
just this
I know
one
the
is
geek world says,
so
"No, we've got to know everything." No, I think this I've made my own ending in my head. I mean, I know that he's gonna end up changing everything. He's gonna take over heaven, and Crowley's going to come back and be something, and it's gonna be like a nice karmic world or something like that. That's where I've ended this movie or the show at.
see, and I don't. I think Aziraphale is going up to dismantle the mess, and, Crowley may be heading down to dismantle the mess down there because, again, you're talking about people in charge who think they know everything when none of us do. None of us
Yeah.
know anything. Can we talk about the music again,
Okay.
please?
Well, we
Okay.
got a few minutes left. Let's finish up the music stuff and then
Okay. This has nothing to do with the score. This has to do with the incidental music.
Yes, so good.
So not only, of course, are we talking about the obvious ones, right? The obvious.
The Buddy Holly.
Yes, the Buddy Holly. But did we all notice the Queen that was being played in, quartet in the background? And I think there were some other bands as well.
Did you watch the credits? Because the credits say very special thanks to Queen.
They've been incredible. When you're talking about,
you can't do a international British show without having Queen in it. You can't.
Well, the fact that they gave them the rights for it is from season 1 is spectacular. But seriously, listening, you have to, when you're watching the show, listen to the music that is playing behind the incidental music, the stuff that's playing in the cafe, the stuff that's playing on, the choices that are being played on the radio at any given time. There are so many wonderful little, like, wait, I recognize that moments, but it's presented in a way that you would not expect. It's very Bridgerton.
I did not get into. My wife's into Bridgerton. I never got into that one.
I did not want to get into Bridgerton, but it's fantastic.
I'm a dude, so yeah. I mean,
I did not.
Definitely not the target our audience for Bridgerton.
Listen, I resisted, but Regé-Jean Page. I mean,
I'll do Downton Abbey. That's about as far as I'll go down that.
Okay, that's pretty fantastic there too. But okay, thank you for letting me talk about that music though, because it is spectacular. Do yourself a favor when you're rewatching. I hate to pull you out of the story, but just lean that musical ear over to what's being played in the background because it's fun. It's so fun to catch those.
I feel like you need to watch this 3 times. You need to watch once for the story, your first time through. Then you need to watch it just for the visual and the Easter eggs, and then the 3rd time for the music.
And you're still not going to catch everything,
but you'll catch enough at that point. Yeah.
Yes, but you'll be happy. I'm sort of curious if we've got the second coming. I'm sort of curious if we're going to see any of the 4 horsemen again.
Well, they could do up to 4 of them, so or 3 more. I don't know.
Or are we going to see Anathema Device come back?
I don't. Well, there's different ways they could do that.
And I mean, like both of them are doing so much more now.
They could be doing something with, if they're doing Second Coming. As a religious person, I know what that means. So it's not necessarily, it's not Armageddon. It's
Jesus, right?
It's Jesus coming back for basically New Utopia. And if that's where they're going with it now, then why would you stop it if it's a New Utopia?
Well, because it would mean the end of the world, though, right?
No. Nope.
Oh, it isn't. Okay.
No.
Okay, wait.
Unless they're going Rapture, and that's an entirely different.
Okay. I mean, I would guess that they're because they need to raise the stakes.
Yeah.
They're going to go some way where it's not good.
Yeah.
Let's just say that some direction where it's not going to be good.
But I feel like the Apocalypse Armageddon is kind of what the Rapture is kind of what they put on the first one. So the second one, if they come back with the New Utopia,
this is all feeling very Good Place in this a little bit.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, and not in a derivative way at all. Just in the direction that they're going, where it's like people are people. People change, and and people aren't perfect.
Yeah,
but they're amazing, or they can be. They can be horrible, and they can be phenomenal. And I think that's also why we love Doctor Who, because it always goes back to that: is be the best of humanity.
Yeah. And get me a coffee shop like that where I live, because I want a coffee shop. Like
give me coffee or give me dad.
I'd be so happy.
Yes.
I missed '90s when we had coffee shops. We don't really anymore.
Me too.
That's all Starbucks.
Places to gather.
Yeah.
Cool places to gather.
Well, that's that whole community thing that got killed with the C word.
Communal what?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
we got lucky. We got to build our own little community during during
I've
the
forgotten
pandemic.
the experience of human touch. What is that?
That sucks.
Unless you're on the subway and that's not the one that you want.
Okay, so on this, we're gonna start wrapping up. Tell me,
Yes,
what is
sir.
your grades for season 1, season 2? And you think there will be a season 3, so
Um, I'm a 10 out of 10, A plus, A plus, A plus, plus plus, plus plus plus, more seasons. And
of course.
the reason is because it is so rewatchable. The acting is spectacular, the score is spectacular, the storyline is spectacular, and it's just fun. It's a
Yeah.
ride you wanna get on over and over again.
So, actually, I think this is the most important question on this, because I
Mhm.
don't feel like enough people have discovered this show. I'm like, seriously, from the
Mm-mm.
whole iHeart Geek community, you and me are the only ones that have watched it.
Which is, like,
'Cause
preposterous
and we're
to
all
me.
geeks, so
Yeah.
what is it gonna take to, because I mean, we all have superhero fatigue. We're not watching superhero movies. Well, we
Oh my
are,
god,
but
I'm s
we're
yeah, yeah.
angry about it.
Yes.
Um, what is it gonna take for this to draw the attention?
I think we're actually you know what's funny is culturally, I think we're actually moving toward a space that would be more into this now.
Mhm.
We were so jaded and knowing, which is why we wanted our dark, dark series. We wanted our superheroes. We wanted, like, the Batman. We didn't want,
You
you
can speak for
know
yourself on that one, woman.
well but I mean,
I want
the
cheesy Batman.
audiences, the you know, the people who are paying to show up at the theater
Yeah.
or the streaming services were wanting the dark and they didn't want the cheese. But if you look now where Barbie is number 1 in the box office. So this is often what happens is when the world itself is looking darker, we have a tendency to seek out more cheese and light and
Mhm.
things that make us feel good. It's just the way that entertainment has worked historically. And so unfortunately, because things are really not looking so hot in the world right now, this actually may gain appeal for
Mhm.
people. Um, and then for people who are resistant to even trying, it's like, just put aside your need for this hyper realistic, dark, whatever, and allow a little cheese whiz into your life. You will be the better for it.
I like that. I agree with you.
Yeah.
No, so honestly, I think this is gonna do really good in 5 years.
Yeah.
This is gonna be
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that it's gonna be a cult classic.
Mhm.
Um, along
That's
the
very Gaiman,
lines.
though. That's
Oh,
very
yeah.
Gaiman. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, Sandman's the rare exception that people are loving right off, and the
Yeah,
people that no one's discovering it afterwards.
yeah, yeah.
But this, I feel like people are gonna. It's just maybe 10 years down the road, we're looking at this like a Rocky Horror, that it is gonna be a cult. Everyone will have seen it, but it didn't really make the splash that it should have when it came out. My guess.
I'll be interested to see.
I hope
I'll
so.
be very interested to
And
see.
at that point, they better give us a good ending.
It better dang well give us a good ending.
Okay, and that is a show. So, Tommy, thank you so much for hanging out with me
It
and
is my
talking.
pleasure. I
I
am so
miss
excited to be
this.
back. I do too.
We're trying
People
to get more
watch Good
content up.
Omens.
Watch Good Omens. And you
Watch Good
have to
Omens.
watch it in order. You have to see the first one first.
Mhm.
Otherwise, why? You're missing out on. I mean, you could probably watch it separately. It'd be two different experiences. But I
Yeah,
would
but
watch the
there's
first one
the
first.
relationship building and there's just so much to watch it and then watch it again
Yeah.
and again and again. You didn't give us your
Oh,
grade.
my grade. Season 1 is an A.
Mhm.
And I very rarely give those. Season 2 is a B.
Wow,
And
okay.
it's not that, and there's things that I like better on the first season or the second
Mhm,
season. I really liked John Hamm on the second season versus the
mhm.
first season. But it's that dream palette that they gave me in the first season that just they didn't hit that in the second season as well.
No, they did not. It was much brighter. It was
Yeah,
much, much brighter.
it
Oh,
wasn't.
you
It
know
wasn't
what?
my dreams.
We do need to give a little shout out to Hillywood, who did a really fantastic, on the YouTubes, they did a really fantastic, Good Omens tribute where they actually did the handoff for season 2. Neil Gaiman was a guest cameo on it.
Wow.
So if you haven't had a chance to watch that, it's super fun. It's super
We'll
fun.
put that into the notes on this one.
Yes.
Okay, so until next time, guys, check out all the socials. You know where to find us. Keep on geeking on, guys. We love y'all. See you next time.
Keep on geeking on.
Bye.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.